Far as where you found this high school, these guys, I mean, how did you come across this?
Well, I grew up in this small town where the film is based, but I've been in Los Angeles for 17 years now, and it was just on a trip home that I got the inspiration. I've been wanting to do a documentary for many years, and I just thought, what better first film to do, than somewhere that I'm familiar with, and these kids are just one look at this choir, and there's a story there. I guess that's the best way to put it.
So as far as, I didn't realize how award-winning, how massive this thing is. For those that don't understand it, this transcends just that little town.
Oh my goodness!
So much bigger.
I'm going to let you guys mostly address this, but I'll just tell people that aren't aware of it. This choir affords so many kids the opportunity to leave Mississippi, to travel, to go to these competitions, and they don't get much funding for the arts. I mean, nobody does these days. But this is a small town, and yet they're still able to get this award-winning show year after year, going on over a 40-year tradition now. I mean, tell them about some of the people you compete against nationwide.
Oh, yeah. We've competed against people from California whose parents or whatever in the production industry, and I have a friend, I don't remember her name, but she was the voice, the singing voice of Sophia the First on Disney Channel.
Wow.
And we'd compete against people like that and beat them. And I think it was mostly because of the community and our directors and how they would go the extra mile to make sure that we got what we needed to do the best that we could with what we have.
And speaking of going the extra mile, I don't think people realize how hard it was for us to be able to go these places rather than win. Winning was, I wouldn't say the easy part, but getting there was hard. I would like to give a lot of credit to our director's wife. She really pulled off some miracles because of how much money we actually really had, and she stretched it really thin. So that was really something that amazed me.
And like he said, the way Miss Ferris stretched $1 was insane, and we still got the best of what she could get us. So that really just goes to show that these people did everything that they could for the kids that were in their program, and they really, really do care about us. And it's amazing to me, still. So.
As far as talk to me a bit about the tryout process or getting to be first connected to the choir. How does that happen? How do the directors figure out who's going to be a part of this wonderful group?
I'll just start off by saying everyone auditions every year, so you're not guaranteed a spot once you're in it. Once you're in it, you try out every single year, and if you haven't improved exponentially from the last year, you're probably not going to stay around. In the audition process, I think they'd have 3 or 4 different groups of about 40 kids, and you're learning a dance, and all the while they're pulling people out to go sing for the fairs.
Yeah, so you miss some of the dance, but it's not about how well you know the dance in the tryout. It's about, he looks for that spark in somebody, the willingness to work. So it's not about, oh, I know the dance, how come I didn't make it? It's about what he's looking for and what we can use that year. So maybe just because you don't make it, it's not that you're not good enough, it's what he needs that year or the next year. So he tries to develop you. Maybe you might get in this year, but you won't be in every number, but maybe the next year you'll be in every number, and he develops you for a certain role or a specific part to play in.
And I'll add to this too that some, especially in Dallas, communities rally around that football team, right?
Oh, yeah.
This community rallies around a show choir. And I know people who, at 4 years old, their parents started training them to be ready to try out for Attache. If you're a parent, you want your child to be in it. Some of your kids make it, some may not. It's a very, you never know.
Yeah. My brother's 9 years older than me, and he was in it when I was 6 to 8 years old. And I'd be in the aisles during the shows, doing the dances. Like, it was just like one of those things where like I had to be there. I had to be an attache. Like, that was just my life's goal.
And that comes from the female perspective. You got the burly football player over here who didn't care. He wasn't worried about what people were telling him in the locker room. He left football practice to go dance, you know?
And then I really did not know what Attache. Well, I knew of Attache, but I've never went to watch them. It was more of my sister who was really into that type of thing. So she told me, she was like, "Hey, this is my senior year. You might want to try out, like, see how you like it." So I ended up trying out. I didn't think I was going to make it, and I found myself making it, and it was on from then on.
As far access-wise, tell me a bit about first meeting with the. Is it Randy? Who's the David?
Well,
so
yeah.
how did
that
you
was a
get,
challenge.
It must be, because I feel like there is something that he does keep to himself in
Very
how
much.
this all works.
Well, and he protects, these kids are his number one priority in life, as is his wife, same way. They didn't have children of their own, these are their kids. And, he wants to protect the program, the city, and it took a lot of convincing. And I feel like, a lot of Mississippians feel that way when filmmakers come in and want to, dig into a story. We want to make sure that Mississippi's represented in the best that they can be. We want to make it. We want to have a positive takeaway. That was my intent in the film anyway. And so I think once I was able to convince him of that, it took a good couple of months, and I asked to film for a whole year, and finally I broke him down. He's like, "You know what? We leave for LA in 8 days. You can film some of that." So I had 2 days to hop on a plane, try to find a DP, which I had no luck doing, because that's hard to find in Mississippi in 2 days. So I ended up using a guy that I've started out with in local news, Lamont Brown, who kind of saved my behind. And really, that was the jumping off point. It just went on from there. But yeah, I mean, he this is his baby. And I feel so honored to have been able to tell the story.
Once you've been accepted, once you get in, and you talk about him kind of grooming for the next couple of years, how are you changed now that you've been a part of it? Now that you're not just someone who loved it as a kid, or your sister loved it as a kid, you guys are part of the legacy. How's that impacted you guys?
I always say, like, if it weren't for Attache, like, I would not be the person that I am today. He taught us so much of being responsible and getting over yourself and doing it for the group, like going out of your way to make something beautiful with people that you care about and putting your own motives behind you. And I'll let CJ talk a little bit more about what he learned.
Yeah, I really learned how to play a role. In Attache, it's not a you thing. It's about everyone plays a specific role, from if you're on stage, off stage, in the crew, if you're in the pit. It doesn't matter what. If you're a part of Attache, you have a role to play, and there's no one role that's more important than another. And that's what really hit me the hardest. It showed me how to be able to be a part of something. And then he also shows you how to work hard and how to develop something. He showed me that fundamentals are the most important thing when you're being a part of something. When you're learning how to do something, if you don't have a good foundation, you can't expect yourself to be better or keep getting better. And that's what I really learned from being in Attache.
What was it like hearing that you were going to be able to show this in Mississippi here at Oxford, and this community gets to it?
Everything. I mean, I'm so excited to bring this home. They haven't even seen the film yet.
Wow, really?
And this was shot 3 years ago, so now they're students at Ole Miss, and it's going to be really cool this afternoon to see it.
So cool. Well, I guess kind of last words, if you could explain your love of this to folks that aren't from Mississippi, who don't understand it, what could you tell them about what makes you so passionate about this?
I think music is magical, and even in the most trying of times, people can come together for the love of music. I mean, and that's even when we went through hardships as a community and had tiffs in the group and like stuff like that, like when we got to the music and we got to performing, it was all for one and one for all, and that community, that sense of community and that family-like setting has like fostered a deeper love for performing for me and like creating art.
And I'm a firm believer of if what you put in is what you get out, and you put in so much, so you have no choice other than to be very passionate about something like this. You put in so many hours a week, so much work. You're around these people for days. You go on trips with them back to back to back all the time. So it really, if you find yourself not having a passion for this type of thing, it will make you develop one. So that's what I really like to say about it.
Well, I loved it. I hope people get to see this, and I can't wait to see what a Mississippi audience thinks of it. Thank you guys. Can't wait to see what you guys think of it. That's great.